Okay, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other health officials testified yesterday before the Senate. There were a bunch of hijinks, including Senator Rand Paul getting into an argument with Dr. Fauci. Texas so disliked Dr. Fauci's testimony that last night, Lieutenant Governor in Texas, Dan Patrick, went on Fox News and said, "We're not going to listen to Dr. Fauci anymore. But if you ask me, I'm listening to Fauci before I'm listening to Dan Patrick from Texas any day." So what did Dr. Fauci tell us? Some of the things he said were obvious. Number one, Dr. Fauci said, we are not really doing that well. We are clearly not in control of the virus, and we could have 100,000 cases a day in the United States if things don't turn around. Here he is saying it.
It is going to be very disturbing. I will guarantee you that, because when you have an outbreak in one part of the country, even though in other parts of the country they're doing well, they are vulnerable. I made that point very clearly last week at a press conference. We can't just focus on those areas that are having the surge. It puts the entire country at risk. We are now having 40,000+ new cases a day. I would not be surprised if we go up to 100,000 a day if this does not turn around. And so I am very concerned.
So this has already gotten so bad in at least 16 states that they've paused or reversed some aspects of the reopening plans. The four hardest hit states recently in terms of cases are Florida, Arizona, Texas, and California. Now, if you look at growth rate of cases rather than absolute numbers, you actually see some other states that are not getting a lot of attention in terms of percentage growth each day. They are climbing. And if the trend doesn't reverse in 15 or so days, you would have a very different set of states that is the worst in the country in terms of new cases. And again, the message is we could just be at the beginning here. If you look at the total numbers, we cumulatively have seen 2.7 million coronavirus cases in the United States. If the 16 states that are problematic keep increasing their rate of new cases, just even 10% a week, which is, we've seen much faster increases than that, that 2.7 million number in terms of cumulative cases is going to go up dramatically and very, very quickly. You can run the numbers yourselves. If you look at if we get to 15,000 cases a day in Florida, 10,000 a day in Texas and California, you start seeing that these numbers are going to add up insanely quickly. But the administration has moved on. I mean, the Trump administration is just done. They are talking about reopening. They're talking about return to greatness. They're talking about jobs and stocks and all of this other stuff. We are having the four worst days that we've had since the beginning in terms of new cases happened in the last 5 days. Understand that. And hilariously or tragically, or I don't even know what to call it at this point, one of Trump's own hotels failed a coronavirus hygiene audit. There's these rules in terms of hotels of how they're supposed to be cleaning, surfaces are supposed to be wiped down, all of these different rules. Trump International in Manhattan was one of the hotels that Inside Edition audited. Now, Inside Edition, it's sort of like pseudo news. But to the extent that they're telling the truth about this, they had a correspondent check into rooms, including at Trump's hotel, print the program's logo, the Inside Edition logo, on the bed sheets and pillowcases and towels using a washable spray. And you can only see that the spray under ultraviolet light. But if the product is washed or wiped down, then it goes away. And then the Inside Edition correspondent would make it look like someone slept in the room. They would leave, check out, check back in, and go back to the same room the following night. So as far as the hotel knows, this is a new customer, a new guest. There should have been a full cleaning done. Trump International reportedly changed the bed sheets, did not change the pillowcase at all, did not wipe down the desk and other surfaces. So clearly the Trump hotels are not the only ones that are failing to meet the hygiene requirements, and things are looking very, very ugly in a lot of these industries, but many states are just full steam ahead. So at this point, if we ask ourselves, like, where is the ray of hope? Where is the possibility? it's really in the medical field and governors. We have to hope that governors will show leadership, although many of them are not. We have to hope that people will take this more seriously than they've been. I mean, it's been months, but still a lot of people aren't taking this seriously. And we are putting a lot of emphasis on the medical science community that they will develop an effective treatment, something that's better than just, 15% improvement for only the sickest patients, and a vaccine. And we're really waiting on that at this point because our country has failed. Now, I want to remind you, next, I'm going to talk about parts of the US that are doing well, but there are countries that have dominated this. I spoke to a friend who lives in Belgium and is currently in France on a vacation with her boyfriend. Things are great there. I mean, on public transit, everybody's wearing masks. Restaurants are open with fewer tables indoors, even outdoors. Life has resumed. Very few cases now. They are doing it, and I'm envious of that. I admit it. Fortunately, here in Massachusetts, things are going well, but we are judged by the worst of our country. We are not allowed to travel to many parts of the world because, as a country, we are failing. And particularly with people able to come in and out of states, because that's the Constitution. I'm not denying that. We have to talk next about the states that are doing well. How long can they actually hold on? Because the worse things get in some parts of the country, eventually it's going to bleed into the states that are taking this very seriously. So let's discuss that next.